All right, hello and welcome to Make Technology Part of Your Emergency Plan by LEAP. My name is Katie Churchill and I'm based in Lithgow, and I'll be running you through this material today. So thank you again for attending. We do have a chat feature live on this webinar, so if there are any questions you'd like to ask, you can please just drop that in the chat. I will be adding a poll as well, so we can get a bit of information as to how everyone is connected to LEAP. This webinar is being recorded for your purposes for later. That way we can send this out and you can review it in your own time as well. So you will be getting this full presentation in an email later from LEAP. So we'll go ahead and get started on our topics here. So what we're discussing today, we're going to start with some official sources for emergency information, including the Fires Near Me app, DEA Hotspots, and a few others. We'll also cover some other apps, including weather apps and flight radar sites. And we'll talk a bit about social media, how to find community pages on Facebook, how to stay safe from scams, and how to keep an eye out for unreliable sources. So the first item that we'll cover here is official emergency information, which includes the apps Fires Near Me and DEA Hotspots. We'll also talk about LiveTraffic, which has general information on roads and closures and emergency information, and also New South Wales Health based on some of the recent events with coronavirus. We'll discuss that a bit as well. The other apps we'll talk about include the weather app Windy and also Flight Radar 24 for aviation information. Social media, we will cover some information including community pages for local RFS branches and local branches of media and council sites. We'll learn how to mark yourself as safe. We'll learn how to find information on how to help others, and we'll also include some about staying safe online as far as avoiding scams and checking sources. So the first app that we're going to talk about today is Fires Near Me. So you may have heard a lot about this with the recent bushfire crisis. Oftentimes you'd see signs even on the side of the road saying, check fires near me. So this is a bit of information as to how to access that application and how it works. So with this app, you can actually look at a map and you can set your own location as to a watch zone for any bushfire activity in the area. It includes very up-to-date information as far as particular fires and also emergency preparedness. So we'll go through that app in a little bit more detail. So this is what the main page for the app looks like in a Google Play for an Android device. It will look very similar for an Apple device as well. So this is the New South Wales specific site. And so on this, it'll just give you a brief overview of the app, and you can also find some helpful tutorials. So once you open the app in your mobile device, the main screen will be an overview of a map, which you can use the typical navigation gestures as you would for any other action on your mobile device or in Google Maps, say. So you can pan across the map with one finger. You can zoom in by pinching on the screen to where your location is. If your location settings are activated on your phone, you'll be able to see where you are located by a little blue dot. The shaded areas that appear on this app are where a fire has burned, or the outline of a fire. So that also we have a flame icon that indicates exactly where the specific fires are. So all of these blue diamonds are for indicating where there has been a fire or there is an active fire. The map legend on here shows an emergency warning level is in red, which is the highest alert level. A yellow level is to watch and act, meaning to stay aware of what's going on with the fire, and it might be near your area, but there's no immediate need to evacuate. And the next one is a blue icon, which is just advice, which means a fire started in the area. There's not any immediate danger, but you want to stay aware of what's going on around you. Not applicable is something where a non-bushfire incident's occurring or there's not an active fire that's been confirmed in the area. And a watch zone is what you can set up to look at the area specific to you to get alerts on your phone if there is a fire near you. So how do you set up a location alert through this app? If you hold down a location on the map with one finger, a little icon will appear in red. And also a little menu that says add watch zone appears, and you tap that. And then you can set a location radius and a name of this specific location. So maybe it's your house, a place that you work at, or a family member's location. And then you click Add to Watch List. And then what happens then is this little range will appear every time on your screen when you open this app, so that you know that that's an area being watched. And also, if any fire activity occurs in any of these little areas you've set up, you'll automatically get a notification to your phone. The main menu on Fires Near Me. So if you tap in the upper left-hand corner where the three little lines are, that will open up the actual menu. And you can take a look at the different topics here, including where your watch zones are, additional emergency information, and what all the icons mean in a map legend. So the menu here includes helpful emergency information, which is the official New South Wales RFS information. So it says what to do before, during, and after a fire. You can also check the watch zones and edit them. So the Fires Near Me recap. We're just going to review exactly what we learned here. So it displays the official RFS information on current fires and alerts. This app refreshes each time you open it, but the data itself may not be updated until the RFS actually uploads that. So sometimes it can be 1 to 2 days old. So I do know in particular when the bushfires came through my area in Lithgow, there was quite a lag in the information that showed on this app, and that's why we're presenting a few different options today of where to find that information. So always check multiple sources to make sure you have the most current information, and do not wait for an app to tell you to take action. So this is just intended to be supplemental for other information that you're finding in other media sources. Next, we're going to discuss Digital Earth Australia, or DEA Hotspots. So this is a website only. This does not have an app, but this is a government-based site that uses satellite data to show where recent fire activity is. So this is accessed either on a mobile device or your laptop or any other thing that has an internet browser. And so you type in hotspots.dea.ga.gov.au, and you'll come to this site, and the main page lands you on an overview of a map. Navigation in this, if you're on a mobile device, it's the same as any other navigation on a map. So spread your fingers across it to zoom in, and you can pan across with one finger. If you are on a laptop or a larger device, you can use the actual zoom navigation bar on the site as well, which will appear in gray on the right. This is a screenshot from a mobile device when the fires were coming through the Lithgow area, just so you can get a sense of what it looks like during activity time for fire. So once you're at the desired location, you'll see different colored circles indicating where there's been fire. And so this is a range of colors, red being the most recent, and yellow and whitish being up to 2 or 3 days old of fire activity. So the advantage of this site is that you get more localized information of where exactly the hotspots have been picked up by satellites, and the number and the width of the band of these different colors shows you how quickly a fire is progressing and in which direction. So that was definitely helpful in our area when the fires were coming through back in December. It's a bit more clarity than you'll find on Fires Near Me. But keep in mind that this DEA Hotspots doesn't have any emergency information. It doesn't have any notifications to tell you that something's occurring in your area. So the legend for DEA Hotspots, that's the range of colors there. So anything from 0 to 2 hours old will be in bright red. And anything up to 3 days old will be in that yellowish or orange color. The confidence level also is indicative of what size these circles are. So the bigger the circle, the more confident the satellite data is that that's in fact a hotspot or a fire. If it's a smaller circle, it's not as confident. It may just be some noise or maybe another source of heat. When you're on the actual map, and you can look at the individual dots on the map. So if you select a hotspot by tapping on it, the window will actually open up with a lot of other information on that satellite data. A lot of it doesn't make a whole lot of sense just to you and I, but if you scroll down to the very bottom, you'll get an item that says confidence and hours since hotspot. And that's indicative of how confident the data is that that's actually fire, and the hours since that hotspot was recorded by satellite. So that's a bit more granular again than just the color and size of the dot. So recap, new spots appear in red on DEA hotspots as the satellites pass over. Those satellites only pass over a few times a day, so the information in this app could be up to 6 to 12 hours old. It does have better granularity than other sites such as Fires Near Me, and it also shows the day-by-day progression of fire. This site opens new every time you click on it on your phone or your laptop in your web browser, so you will need to navigate to your location each time you access this. It doesn't have the location services like Fires Near Me does. The quick thing you can do with this is save the site in your bookmarks to access it later. LiveTraffic New South Wales is an app that you can find either on your mobile device or your laptop, or you can also just go to it as a site in your browser. So this is Transport New South Wales' official application. It has information on traffic incidents, road closures, and traveling conditions. And especially this one was very relevant in the recent flooding events that we had around the Greater Sydney area. When we had quite a bit of rain a couple weeks ago, this app was very useful in saying exactly where the closures were and what the best route was to take. So once again, if you're in the Google Play Store trying to find this app, or it'd be similar for your Apple device, this is the icon that the app holds. And so you can see a couple of screenshots here. There's also some basic tutorials that you can look at in more detail. The main page on your device, it'll look like a map again. So basic navigation on your touchscreen. All these little icons will indicate where there are either hazards or traffic or closures or maybe a fire or something affecting the road conditions. The blue dot is your current location if you have location services active on your device. And the purple lines indicate where there are closures. On the main page, once more, if you look up at the top of the screen, you'll see a couple of different items for your menu. So the three little lines is again your main menu. You can tap the magnifying glass and a little keyboard will come up where you can enter a postcode or the name of your town to view any incidents local to that area. If you tap on the car, you can toggle the current road conditions on and off. So when you toggle that, you'll see little green and red lines appear on the roads. Green road would indicate that traffic is traveling at a normal speed. Orange and red indicate that there's a bit of a slowdown. The list view on the upper right will indicate any closures or activities in the area in text rather than on the map. It's a bit clunky, especially on the phone, but you can look at it in a Word form instead of the map as well. So the main menu you can access by tapping the three little lines in the upper left of the screen. Tapping LiveTraffic brings you back to the map itself. Cameras takes you to a list of traffic cameras where you can view the live picture of a road. You can also save those locations for viewing later, and we'll go over that in a bit more detail in a moment. The My Trips button brings you to a trip planner and navigation tool, and more will take you into settings in the map legend. So once you get into the more section of this menu, you can adjust what hazards you actually see on the map to either make it a little more cluttered or a little bit more open, depending on what you're looking for. The symbols also show exactly what the symbols on the map means with a little description. And this app has its own tutorial built in as well in this section. Reviewing the cameras in LiveTraffic New South Wales, if you select camera on the main menu, you'll go back to the map and little yellow symbols will appear where there are traffic cameras located. If you click on that yellow symbol and then click the words that appear above it, you can open that menu within itself and you'll see the live view of that road. You can click the little circling arrows to update that image, and you can save that camera later by clicking Save Camera. And so that's a good way if you're a regular commuter or if you think there might be an incident up ahead of you on the road or before you leave from work or from home, and you can take a look at what the actual conditions are. This may be useful if you're traveling in an area where you know there's severe weather or storms coming through. You can see on the road by the camera if there's maybe debris on the road or if there's fog or smoke. So back under the main menu, if you go into My Trips, so that allows you to enter a starting point and a destination for a trip. So if you put in a location, either a name of a business or an actual street address, you can use start and finish locations and select whether to avoid highways or tolls. So the app will highlight any hazards or incidents on the route you've chosen, and it'll give you a step-by-step navigation of how to get to your destination. So just to review, this is the Transport New South Wales official application. It has information on incidents, closures, traveling conditions, severe weather, flooded roads, etc. It can help you plan a route to avoid any hazards, highways, or tolls. The next site we're going to talk a little bit about is New South Wales Health. So this has emergency information, health alerts, current and forecasted air quality, and other general information. So this is accessed via website, health.nsw.gov.au. So this is the main page of the site here. You can see in the upper right information, we have a couple of buttons for check air quality or emergency information. And your main page will have whatever's the most relevant at that time. So of course, right now, all the news is about coronavirus. So this is a good resource to see what the current update is on the situation, has information about preventative measures and what you need to know. So if you click the red button at the top that says emergency information, you'll be taken to a submenu here that has different contact numbers and other helpful contact for different departments. It did have quite a bit of information here for bushfires as well. So this is a good site to come to learn a bit more about the health impacts of any of the emergencies that we've been encountering. From the main page, it had a little link to more information about coronavirus. So it has a great hub here of information, including updates, facts about it, because there's quite a bit of rumors going around about it, how you can protect yourself, what to know if you're a health professional, how NSW is responding, and what to know about traveling. So this is a good resource, not only when we're in the depths of a potential pandemic, but also for just in general. The other apps we're going to cover today include the weather app Windy and the flight tracker Flight Radar 24. So the weather app Windy, this is a good tool to use to find not only a comprehensive weather app, but more specific information for temperature, precipitation, wind, dust, and active fire. So for today, we'll use it for some basic data, but this app is also fun to further explore. It works great on a mobile device, and you can also use it on a desktop or laptop version. So the basics of Windy, when you open this app in your phone or your tablet, you'll see a basic map that'll show temperature and wind direction with some arrows. On a mobile device, basic navigation again on your touchscreen. So zoom in from the main screen by spreading your fingers across your mobile device or touchpad and pan across the map with one finger. There is a search bar on the main page with a little magnifying glass in the bottom right where you can enter the actual location that you want to see more data for. And you can access the main menu by tapping the 3 lines on the right part of the page. So the menu within here on Windy, it has all the parameters you can view data for. So this includes the basics that are helpful either during an emergency or during just general knowledge of what the weather is going to be. So it has radar, temperature, wind, dust, and active fire. The most basic data layers show the current conditions. They can also be progressed further with a little slider on the bottom of your screen to see predictions for the coming days. So these are a couple of the data points you can see here. So if you select wind from the menu, you'll see different arrows showing the direction of the wind. The more arrows there are and the closer together they are indicates the wind speed. Active fires will be shown in yellow and orange areas. You'll also be shown wind direction and speed to indicate which direction the fire is going to move in. Weather radar shows areas of precipitation, and you can play that through a loop so you can see where those spots have been and where the rain or where the precipitation is coming from. Temperature uses a color scale to indicate the degrees, and it's shaded by different colors. The smoke or the air quality will show you exactly where the smoke is. This is a satellite data of clouds and also will show bushfire smoke. And the dust mass layer will show you a progression of dust storms and respective air quality, which has been helpful, especially during our drier conditions. A couple more that would be helpful if we had some flooding conditions like we did the past few weeks. There is a setting where you can look at rain accumulation from your main menu, and that'll show the predicted accumulation in millimeters over a range of time. So you can do anything from the next 12 hours to the next 10 days, and you can see exactly where those pockets of heavier rain will be. Related to this, there's a layer for visibility. So you can see ahead of time where there's low visibility predicted, and the color scale represents the kilometers of visibility. So this will indicate if there's heavy rain or fog or smoke reducing visibility. So to find conditions for a specific location, from the main screen, if you tap the space next to the magnifying glass, you can type in the town or the postcode where you're looking for. And then you'll be shown basic data such as temperature, precipitation, and wind. If you drag across that bottom table, you can see additional days as well. So just a quick recap, Windy is a comprehensive weather app. It does include data for temperature, fire, precipitation, wind, and dust, and others. Excuse me. It does not have any emergency information, but it is useful for anticipating things like fire conditions, flood potential, smoke, and air quality conditions. The next site we'll review is called Flight Radar 24. This is an app and also a site that shows in real time where there's aviation activity. Excuse me. This informs you where there is water bombing support during a bushfire. So on the map, you'll see in the next slide that there's little yellow aircraft icons to see its flight path and also other useful information. This is when we had some fires down near Canberra a couple months ago. So you can see all these little yellow icons indicate planes. Excuse me. So if you select any of these little icons, you can get the information as to what the plane is, if it's a water bomber, where it is, where it's been, where it's going. And that's just helpful to know where that support is if you're very close to a fire. So the next item we're going to discuss is social media. So social media, it does have a lot of community pages and ways to connect to local groups. During a crisis, you can reach out to families and friends and mark yourself as safe. We don't recommend relying on social media for emergency information, but it is supplemental to all these other resources. You always want to be aware of inaccuracies, rumors, and scams. It does function as a very rapid grapevine, so you just want to be aware of where your information is coming from. So in Facebook, how you find community pages. If you look at the magnifying glass or the search bar at the very top of your main Facebook page, you can enter the name of, say, your town or region, plus keywords relating to the topic you're looking for. So for some examples, if I'm up in Lithgow, I'd write Lithgow News or Lithgow Fire Brigade and click search. Your search results will then appear. So at the top of this page, you'll see a little menu with a couple of words like all, posts, people, photos, videos, etc. If you click on pages instead of all, you'll actually see just the pages that are coming up with your search results. It just filters out some of the noise where maybe someone's posted with that name in there, and it just helps you to find these a bit quicker. So we click on the result and go to its page. We'll select Lithgow Mercury for our purposes right now. You can scroll down the page to read who this page is about, what they do. You can read their posts and updates. A general rule of thumb, if you look over to the right of the page, you can see how many people are following that page. More people will often indicate this page is updated more frequently. There's usually a couple different ways to connect to a page. So at the top, you'll see usually under its little profile picture, you'll see a button that says like or follow or share. If you click follow, then you'll get this information or the updated posts from this page on your newsfeed every time you open Facebook. Some pages also allow you to sign up for emails or have different ways you can contact them. So finding additional community pages. This is a list of official services that have their own pages on Facebook. So if you search any of these words in your search bar, then you'll get the pages for these specific places. So the RFS has one, LiveTraffic, NSW Incident Alerts, NSW Police Force, and NSW Health, which is a site that we reviewed earlier. And those are all official information sources. Local agencies will also have their own page, so you can try searching for the name of your local council. You can search for your town name plus rural fire service to find a local branch. You can search for a local police district and local MPs as well. Local media will also have a Facebook presence typically, so you can search for the name of a local newspaper or radio call numbers, and you should find a couple more pages there. Facebook usually has community-run pages where residents will add their own information and pictures. So please note those are unofficial sources and shouldn't be relied on for emergency information. However, some of these tend to be updated quite often, and it's very localized information. So locals can voice their own opinions. They might submit their own pictures or updates. I know for our particular area in Lithgow during the bushfires, people were posting on these community pages to find out who needed help or where the fires were, and posted pictures and things like that. So try searching the name of your town and check out to see if they have a couple of community pages. Just be sure to check their reputation before joining, and always take this information as it is and not as an official emergency information source. Facebook crisis response. So Facebook has its own I guess, program, if you will, for crisis response, where when different emergencies happen around the world, they set up a crisis response page where you can enter in maybe your location, or you can search for bushfires or Australia, and you'll find some different pages that they've set up for this. So these pages will tell you, you can mark yourself as safe to tell your friends that are maybe overseas or not in the area and they're worried about you. That'll automatically tell them that you're safe in this emergency. It connects you with different people that do need help, or maybe offers of help. It'll have information about the actual emergency as well. Again, not an official source, but just another hub of information where Facebook kind of compiles it based on the connections they have as far as your friends and who else is in the area. So this crisis response page will also have posts where people are either looking for help or offering help, so you can see if there's anyone in your area that you can reach out to. In the About section on the crisis response page for that set emergency, you can go to a page that has additional news about the crisis, and they'll come from a couple different sources. So once again, you always want to check your sources, but this is a way that they compile information local to your area. Just a few words of caution. So social media, again, is a very powerful tool. It does connect people across the globe, but you always want to do a bit of research before you join a page, connect to someone for volunteering, or make a donation. As always, a quick Google search of that organization can help you find where those donations actually go. And you'd never want to respond to an individual reaching out to you via Facebook direct messaging, claiming to be a part of a charity. That shouldn't be a way that they contact you. And one more note about Facebook and social media. So the anonymity of sitting behind a screen can definitely make people say things they wouldn't say in real life. So some people might be more aggressive or demeaning or spread false claims. So just remember to be kind when you're using social media. Remember that they are people behind those accounts and behind your own account, and be sure to verify information before you pass it along on social media. So recap, Facebook's a good way to access community pages and connect to local groups. You can use their crisis response module to find out how to help others, how you can reach out for help, or to let other people know that you're safe. You shouldn't be relying on this for emergency information, though there are official pages that you can find information on. And be very aware of inaccuracies, rumors, and scams. So always be kind when you're using this. Another page that, this is just a website, even though it says crisis.app, but this is another resource that was especially helpful in the wake of the bushfire crisis, and this was created specifically in response to it. So the website at the top, crisis.app, is a directory of community-based emergency resources. So you can use this to connect with groups to either find help or offer help. It's a pretty basic navigation site, so you can enter in what you're searching for, what you either need or what you can offer, and what your location is. And then this is basically just a compiled version of different groups and different organizations that are either offering help or need help. So you can browse this site and enter in your location and click search, and you can see, based on how far it is away from you, different assistance that's being offered. You can also add your own listing if either you're offering help or you need help or you know someone that needs help. And there is a link at the top of the main page to do this in a form you can fill in to add a listing. So we'll talk a little bit about checking source reliability. I've mentioned that a couple of times. So this is one method that's created by the California State University at Chico. So this is a kind of catchy way to remember how you can check reliability of a source is, does it pass the CRAP test? So is it current? Is it relevant? Who's the authority behind it? Is the information accurate? And what's the purpose of it? So these all present a couple of good questions that you can go through in your head while you're reading over a news source or seeing something that somebody posted, just to check it out in your head to make sure that it is actually reliable before you either buy into it or help out this cause or pass it on to somebody else. Another resource that's set up is the actual National Charity Register. So before you donate to any cause, it's always helpful to look up a charity. So you can either enter their ABN or a charity name at the website at the top. And it's a national registry. And if that place that you're looking to donate to doesn't appear, it may not be a good idea to give to it. Excuse me. Being mindful of scams. This is something that, especially in the wake of the bushfire crisis, we had quite a bit of problems with, unfortunately. So be very cautious if you're using crowdfunding to find a cause to connect to. You want to make sure the platform that hosts the page verifies the legitimacy before it gets it on to people to donate to. You shouldn't feel pressured to respond to any cold calls or SMS messages. And be sure you alert your bank immediately if you think you gave your money or information to a scam. Excuse me. You can read more at scamwatch.gov.au. So a couple of tips here. The emergency information discussed at this session is intended to be strictly supplemental, so you should get information from multiple sources. That might be a radio or a TV or other websites or other people that you're talking to. The apps and the sites we've talked about today, it's helpful to bookmark those for future use or to download those apps so you can review them later. This presentation will be sent to you directly. It'll also be available on the LEAP website for your reference. And you'll receive a handout style document with a summary of the information that we covered in that email. So it's just kind of a one-pager that goes over the basics of all these apps we've talked about. And so you know exactly what information to look for when you go to download them. So this session's intended to be an overview. So for further support on these topics and more, you can book a session with one of LEAP's tech mates. And if you're already confident with this content, you can volunteer as a tech mate with LEAP to help others. So as you may or may not be familiar, LEAP does organize many hubs across New South Wales at the moment, and we're currently expanding as well. So these are some of the locations where LEAP has a presence, where there are volunteer tech mates willing to help other learners in the community. So if you're looking for some additional help, you can connect with us and contact us and let us know that you want to join with one of these groups and get some help. This is the contact info for LEAP at the main office. And again, you can book a session with your local LEAP program and a volunteer tech mate will help you in hour-long sessions. These are usually held weekly and you can come join them for as long or as little as you'd like. Come with questions about specific information that you'd like to learn. Or they can also guide you through the process of learning how to use a new device or getting on the web. So I very much appreciate everybody's time today. I will go ahead and I'm going to pop a little poll up on your screen now. That just has a couple of questions that we're just looking for some feedback on. So I'll go ahead and launch that. It's just some information about how you found out about us, and I'll just launch that for you now. So on your screen now, you should see a little box that's come up with questions to select. So the first two questions, you can select one as far as which of the following best describes your involvement with LEAP? How did you hear about the webinar? And then what kind of emergency information were you most interested in today? Great, so thank you very much for responding to that poll. That's very helpful. And I'll open this up for now. If you have any questions, you can use the little Q&A button at the top of your screen. So thank you everybody for attending today. Very much appreciate your time, and I hope that this has been very helpful for you. You should also receive a questionnaire with the follow-up email to get your feedback on this session. Right, so I don't see any questions coming in. If you do have any after the fact, please just feel free to contact us at LEAP, and we'd be happy to help you out. So again, please keep in mind to book a session with one of our tech mates if you'd like some further help on this information. And you will receive this presentation along with a handout form with the summarized version of this presentation for your future reference. So thank you very much, everybody, and hope you have a great day.